Let's go! All right, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, what is going on? It's Isaiah here from Zaya&TheSteelers, and we are back with another episode of Zaya&TheSteelers, and this is episode 17. Hello, what is going on, everybody? As you know, we start this out with taking a peek at last week's episode, and we are on a new channel, and last week we got 13 views, so, definitely back to the bottom here. But we got 10 subscribers. I believe that is up from the last time. Here, let me go to the very beginning of this. That's on the Ascent Sports channel. That's fine, cool. But I believe we did gain some subscribers since last week. So, it is what it is. The video on the Ascent Sports channel, the last full podcast on there, is actually sitting at about 2.5K views. So, definitely stuff to be excited about. I knew the challenges when I made a new channel. I knew it was going to come to this. So it is what it is. With that said, though, anyway, now getting into the topics at hand this week. Gonna be a little bit of a shorter episode this week. Just honestly, it's not even really about the Steelers per se. I don't really have as much time today as I do on other days. But also it is a little bit of the Steelers as well with where we are in the football year, the football season. It's not really, once again, the most action-packed. We're still just counting down the days to actual training camp. And it's funny, there's like 10 different Isaiahs on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube right now, there's like 10 of me on the screen right now. I hope it's not too confusing. But yeah, we do have some the two main topics I want to get into. Really, they should carry us for a bit. I should get to talk about them for a bit. So it is what it is, as you can see on the screen below. We're gonna talk about Mike Tomlin and we're gonna talk about Cameron Heyward. Mike Tomlin specifically, though. I think it's time to finally take a deep dive on this, to finally let my feelings know, to finally let the Steelers fans know where I'm at with Mike Tomlin at this point in his career. Of course, my opinions don't really matter, but Mike Tomlin is an enigma. He's an anomaly almost, because he's this very, very, very great coach, like very great coach. But then at the same time, everybody wants to replace him. Now, there are some people who don't want to replace him, some people who are back down to earth. But then those people who don't want to replace him and they shell all out for him, they refuse to acknowledge some of the blunders or shortcomings that we've had with Mike Tomlin, as our coach. Me personally, I believe myself to be sort of in the middle, definitely way more towards keep Mike Tomlin than get rid of him. But I can admit that it hasn't always been, what is it? Peaches and daisies. What even combination is that? Peaches and daisies, peaches and roses. I don't know what that term is, but it hasn't always been great. But what I can say is it has always been great. It has always been at least 500. It has always been at least in the playoff contention. We've never just been, besides early in the year, we've never just been completely dead by, week 10 or 12. We're still fighting at that point. There has never been a time where by week 10 we're done. Never. Even when we had Mason and Duck playing, we weren't even out of the water yet. So I think that has to mean something. But then, you also have people who are just ready to replace Mike Tomlin. This year, last season, the season before that, they've just been ready to let him go. And so I kind of want to explore what if we were to get rid of Mike Tomlin, the realistics of it, how good Mike Tomlin actually is versus other coaches and versus people who would replace him, because the you get rid of Mike Tomlin, right? You get rid of Mike Tomlin to replace him with another good coach. And now Mike Tomlin, once again, is this anomaly because Mike Tomlin right now today, top 3 coach in the NFL. You got Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, who I will give them to, I will say that they're over Tomlin with no debate. You won't hear it from me. Andy Reid, whatever. You got Patrick Mahomes and then Bill Belichick. You had Tom Brady. Cool, whatever. I won't even argue it. But past that, there is not a single coach in the NFL right now coaching 32 teams that even has a chance. Maybe, just maybe, Pete Carroll of Seattle. He does have the 2 Super Bowl appearances and then the 1 win. Same with Mike Tomlin. He has that, and his Super Bowl was a little more recent than Mike Tomlin's. But at some point, this non-losing season shit has got to matter, you know. Otherwise, why do we keep celebrating it, you know? So I got to give it over. I got to give it to Tomlin over Carroll in that edge. But it is pretty close. But then, other than that, there's not a single coach right now who is even remotely a candidate if we are going to replace Mike Tomlin, in my opinion. And we got Mike Tomlin, I believe, from Minnesota, and he was a defensive coordinator, cornerbacks coach, or something like that. With that said, I mean, there probably is some hotshot, you know, coordinator who, if, let's not say us, but like just gets the promotion to head coach, is probably going to be one of the better head coaches in the league. We've seen that over and over and over now. We got like Mike McDaniels in Miami, Rob Saleh in New York. If the 49ers, they have Shanahan, obviously. But like there's coordinators who are ready to take the next step up. And if they take the next step up, you know, they'll probably do well as a coach. But we can't really factor those in when it comes to if we're going to get rid of Mike Tomlin or not, you know. And I'm going to let me get rid of this screen here. This is really what sparked the whole, you know, debate or whatever with me and this topic idea. So we have the 33rd team. Honestly, I don't even know who the 33rd team is. But they have released I believe that they're connected to the NFL as well. NFL content from current and former players. All right, I don't know if this is connected to the NFL, but it's the 33rd team, so it is what it is. They released this picture that shows locks for the Hall of Fame among active coaches, likely, potentially, and all this nonsense. So Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, locks, cool. And then we got Pete Carroll, John Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Mike Tomlin. These are likely people, right? And this is to me, it even starts here. I don't know what order this is in. I don't know why it goes Pete Carroll, John Harbaugh, Peyton, Tomlin. It might be alphabetical order by last name. Maybe, I don't know. But to me, Mike Tomlin is a lock for the Hall of Fame. He should be a lock for the Hall of Fame. I don't know what the coaching lock is, but to me, Mike Tomlin is obviously a Hall of Fame coach. To me, Mike Tomlin is better than Sean Payton, better than John Harbaugh, and better than Pete Carroll, to me. And yeah, I believe, honestly, like I might be in alphabetical order here as I'm looking at it. You got C, H, P, T. I think P comes before T. I don't know. I'm not doing my ABCs right now. But Mike Tomlin shouldn't even be grouped in with them. I mean, Sean Payton is a great coach, but I mean, if we're talking about, you know, who's going to place the highest bounty on an opposing quarterback, Sean Payton, you got me there. You know, you're a fantastic coach when it comes to that. So, I mean, if that's what the ranking is, sure, Sean Payton. John Harbaugh, guys. These are the Ravens. It's the Ravens versus the Steelers. I'm going to be honest here. Is John Harbaugh likely to make the Hall of Fame? I know he has the one Super Bowl just like Mike Tomlin, but I've seen the Ravens stink all the time. I have seen the Ravens not be good before, and I've seen it before. Like, I've seen it multiple times here. Granted, that doesn't mean you're a bad coach. John Harbaugh is a great coach. I don't want to just completely slander John Harbaugh for Mike Tomlin, but it is what it is. I'm taking Mike Tomlin, and so John Harbaugh probably is a likely candidate. He's a great coach. The Ravens are always, you know, decent or whatever. But there's been some blunders over in Baltimore. There's definitely been some blunders. Even recently, what are we going on? Recent success? I mean, John has a playoff win more recently. I believe head-to-head. I don't know what the exact head-to-head record is playoffs-wise or like head-to-head wise. But I think Harbaugh has the more recent playoff win over us back in 14 or 15, right? But when we take into account before that, with, you know, the year we won the Super Bowl and all that, I believe we beat the Ravens to go to in 2008. I believe we beat the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. And then when we talk about games to clinch the division, we've bodied the Ravens. I feel like games to clinch the division. If we got to face Baltimore, like, we bodied them. Everybody remembers Christmas. Like, come on, do we have to bring up Christmas? It is what it is. So I think Mike Tomlin has definitely gotten the better of John Harbaugh in a 1v1 specifically. And not specifically. Guys, I know we love Lamar. Well, not we. But Lamar Jackson, he's an amazing quarterback. He's amazing marketing material. He's amazing for posts. But have the Ravens done anything since we lost AB, Bell, and Brown? Or AB, Bell, and Ben? Since that was a trio, what? They've won a playoff game and had Lamar be MVP, but then what? Nothing. And I'm only saying this because when Steelers fans, when we say Mike Tomlin is a great coach, like we started out, Mike Tomlin is a great coach, the defense is, well, he doesn't have control of the locker room, so we bring him back down. Well, he's 1-3 in his last whatever playoff game, so we bring him back down. Well, he caters to Ben too much, so we bring him back down. Well, the defense isn't always that good, so we bring it back. And we started here with Mike Tomlin, and then for whatever reason, it's never just like, yeah, Mike Tomlin is a great coach. Bill Belichick, yeah, Bill Belichick is a great coach. He gets to be up here. Andy Reid, yeah, he's a great coach. He gets to be up here. Mike Tomlin, yeah, he's a great coach. But this happens every time. So, we got to do it. Sean Payton, I mentioned the bounty gate earlier, but he hasn't coached in a million years anyway. And the last time he did coach, the Saints weren't really good. That might be a lie. I actually think the Saints might have made the playoffs the last time he coached. But I mean, Drew Brees was falling off. Sean Payton, this isn't serious. Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, John Harbaugh, and Mike Tomlin, they're all fantastic coaches. So me trying to cherry pick this, it's a little Mickey here. I'm sorry. But I just want to prop Mike Tomlin up. That's all this is. I just want to prop Mike Tomlin up. We're going to get to some of the actual stats here in a second. But I did want to kind of glance at what they had. Past Mike Tomlin, who is the last likely, by the way, which I think it goes by last name, but whatever. The last likely, we got Mike McCarthy, Sean McDermott, Sean McVay, Doug Peterson, Ron Rivera, Kyle Shanahan. Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh are the same coach. Just throwing that out there. I'm going to get that off, too. I'm not editing that out. But Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh, same coach. Sean McDermott, I mean, when Mike McCarthy, he's been in here for a while. So, he's kind of more with these guys. But then we got Sean McDermott, Sean McVay. Where did McDermott come from? Where was McDermott from? Because him being, likely for what? Or potentially for the Bills being good for 2 years, that's crazy. Sean McDermott, I'm sure, comes from, a Belichick or some kind of coaching tree, so I'm sure there's something there. Sean McVay, even, he's won a Super Bowl. Doug Peterson's won a Super Bowl. Ron Rivera has been to a Super Bowl, coached Cam Newton maybe, but I mean this is just what is it, stats or whatever, time played in the league, that's what this is for Ron Rivera. Same thing with Shanahan, he's been to a Super Bowl. But Sean McDermott, I'm pretty confused about, honestly. Once again, I'm pretty sure he has to come from some kind of Bill Belichick coaching tree or Andy Reid coaching tree where he's been a part of winning his football. But I mean, the Bills, what? They lost a coin toss? That's it? Really? That's it? But, whatever. Cool. Maybe there's not that many Hall of Fame coaches in the league, and it is alphabetical, so Sean McDermott gets up here. But that's just a funny name. Same thing, Mike McCarthy, he has the ring. He got us in the he beat us in the Super Bowl. But other than that, I mean, he's coached a bunch of 10-win teams before, but hasn't really won and hasn't appeared past that. So what's the difference between Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh? Honestly, John Harbaugh maybe, is a little more prestigious, but I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of ranting. I'm just kind of bubbling here. I don't even know what to call it. But Mike Tomlin is a great coach, and if we look here, the greatest coaches in NFL history. This is by Athlon Sports. I believe it goes backwards. So if we go to number 1, I believe is going to be Bill Belichick. Yeah, he has 17 division titles, 9 Super Bowl appearances, 7 wins. Then we got Vince Lombardi, Don Shula, Bill Walsh, Paul Brown, all these people. Okay, so let's go back up here. Let's go back up here to 20, Mike Tomlin. These are 163, 93, and 2. What is this? This is another thing, 163. I just want to make sure. Okay, so this appears to be updated. I think this is updated, right? This appears to be updated. So Mike Tomlin, as of right now, is 163, 93, and 2 in 16 years. He's 8-9 in the playoffs, which isn't good. 7 division titles, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and Super Bowl champion. Never has yet to post a losing record as well. That's not really a stat here. But when we're talking about this, okay, audio listeners, I'm gonna do my best to explain this to you, okay? So the person before him, Steve Owen, 1931 through 53, 34 NFL champion. He's before him. listen, if Jackie Robinson wasn't allowed in the MLB to the point you were coaching, your stats don't count. So I'm not counting them. I don't know when did Jackie Robinson break the color barrier? I don't know. But 1931, are you shitting me? You don't count. So that's before Tomlin. 1936, 19 Ray Flaherty. Ray Flaherty, I'm sure in your era, you were an amazing coach, bro. But for the Boston Redskins, the New York Yankees, and the Chicago Hornets, are you kidding me? I'm not ranking you above Mike Tomlin, bro. So Mike Tomlin, you slide from 20 to 19. It is what it is. Next, we got Bill Cowher. And this is going to ruffle some feathers here. But are we here to pod? We're here to pod today. Mike Tomlin is not too far from Bill Cowher. He's not. And listen, maybe this is the youngin. Maybe this is the what is it? Gen Z, Gen X. I don't even know what gen I am. But if we just go off of this, and not the feelings that we had, not the vibes back then, like, oh, bro, you don't even remember what it was like to work 16 hours a day for $2 and then come home and watch the Steel City football. You know what? Listen, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But if we look at the Pittsburgh, 1992 through 2006, I don't know the exact years on that, but 15 years, that's 15 years. Tomlin in 16 years. So Tomlin has one more season. He's now officially been coaching longer than Bill Cowher. Tomlin has more wins, has one less division title. So Cowher has the division title. Same amount of Super Bowl appearances and same amount of rings. Now, the thing with Tomlin and that ring is, well, he won that ring with Cowher's team. Cowher was the coach of that team. He made the team. You know, he kind of built him up for Tomlin to continue riding in the success. You can say that. Cool. But then what about the Super Bowl appearance, a year or two after? At what point is it like not your team anymore? You know, because what's his name? Former NFL coach, former super canceled coach, John Gruden. John or Jay Gruden, one of the Grudens. They have a Super Bowl ring with Tony Dungy's team, essentially. And people say that all the time. People say Gruden has, the ring with Tony Dungy's team, right? People say that all the time. But he got the opportunities and he got other things based on that ring, based on that championship won. And so with that said, at what point did Bill Cowher did win the championship, but at what point did Bill Cowher release the team? You can't just say, oh, the team that Tomlin won the Super Bowl with, it doesn't count. It's not his team. It's like, is it? And that's a little messed up. And we had the appearance, I believe, a season or two after. And at that point, is it Tomlin's team since we lost the Super Bowl? Was it Tomlin's team then since we lost? You tell me. But yeah, they have the 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 less division title. And Tomlin never has had the losing season. I wasn't there. I don't know the vibes. I don't remember the feeling that people got when they saw Bill Cowher out there coaching this team. For real, because I did watch the games when Cowher was the coach, but I wasn't really, I was trying to play with trucks and shit. I was like 4 years old, bro. So I don't necessarily remember the actual feelings of it all. But it's not that insane. And never have I seen a Steelers fan say, we should have got rid of Bill Cowher earlier. Or we should have did this with Bill Cowher. We should have did that with Bill Cowher. Is Bill Cowher going to is he going to go coach USC? Never has that happened, right? And with Mike Tomlin, it happens all the time. And just based off of, the totals here, the stats, the box score watchers, Kenny Pickett had a bad rookie year because if you look at the box score, with these coaching stats, Tomlin is not far off of Bill Cowher. In fact, he is 1 division title away from having him beaten everything. Besides, I guess appearances. Appearances is tied. If he wins another Super Bowl, then boom, it's over. But appearances is tied. They have the same amount of rings. Tomlin has more wins, and then the playoff record. Let's get into the playoff record. Cowher has 2? He has 4 more wins in the playoffs than Tomlin, and the same amount of losses. Hey man, you got me there. Hands up. I apologize. I hit my mic. You got me there. Tomlin, we have not had the best run here in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs recently. We've been taking some losses. But if we look at these losses, like we faced the Chiefs twice in a row. What was the Jacksonville loss was like our last real loss. We shouldn't have lost that game. We shouldn't have lost to the Ravens in like 2014. 2015 we were kind of hurt and got a playoff win. So I mean, take that. But okay, I did forget about the 12-9 in the playoffs. If you want to count that, sure. But the overall point still stands, however, of Mike Tomlin not being that far off. Not being that far off. 4 wins in the playoffs. That's a whole playoff run. So if you start from the wild card and win up through then and maybe the Super Bowl, I don't actually know if the Super Bowl counts, but I assume it does. If you just win straight up in the Super Bowl, Tomlin could tie that this year. But you got me there. Bill Cowher, more successful in the playoffs. Cool. But once again, I just don't think it's that far off. And the way that they're talked about is polar opposites. The way that Cowher has never gotten an ounce of slander since I've ever seen him talked about. And by the time I seen him talked about and like remembered it, he was already on his TV job, and it's more of like a legacy thing. And so now we don't talk bad about Bill Cowher. I wasn't actually there. I don't remember. But I just don't think it's that crazy. And people be sleeping on Mike Tomlin. Bill Cowher, this was all to say people sleep on Mike Tomlin. Who's next? Dick Varnell, the 1976-82 St. Louis Rams in Kansas City. They don't even have a team name. These are kind of more recent, so I mean, I guess, but can we not? We can't put Mike Tomlin over this guy. It is what it is. Tony Dungy, let's see. We got 6 division titles, 139 wins, 9-10 in the playoffs, 1 Super Bowl champion. Dungy first turned Tampa Bay, and then he took Indianapolis to the next level. He did do this. The multiple teams, that's kind of OP. If you're a coach and you've coached multiple teams, like this Dick Varnell guy, like this Ray Flaherty guy, like even maybe Marty Schottenheimer's here, like maybe even other people. Like if you've coached multiple teams, sure, that helps, because it's like we take you, we put you here, you're good. We put you here, you're good. Tomlin, he just had Bill Cowher's team, so he's not even really a good coach. So we can't really do that with him. But with Tony Dungy, sure. But hey, man, I'm here to pod. Mike Tomlin, I'm taking Mike Tomlin over Tony Dungy. Bud Grant, 1976, Minnesota. Are you kidding me? 4 Super Bowl appearances, no ring, no. And we got him over Mike Tomlin. Hey, man, don't shoot the messenger. This is live reaction. This is me just conveying it to you. I don't think Bud Grant really has it over Mike Tomlin. That's just me. John Madden, you got me. You're literally Madden. Guy Chamberlain. At what point? Guy Chamberlain and Curly Lambeau. This is Lambeau Field, but we got 1922 and 1921. So these, to me, I shouldn't keep doing this because I'm just going to kill myself here. But are we 58 and 16 and 7? 4 NFL titles from 1922, 24, and 26. So 22, 23, 24, and then 26. Guy Chamberlain was a beast, bro. Guy Chamberlain was a savage. Same thing with Curly Lambeau. He has 6 championships. I mean, it is what it is, but hey, man. Andy Reid, we talked about him. Bill Parcells, we really shouldn't do this. Even Chuck Noll down here. But, like, this is what I mean when we're talking about Mike Tomlin. This is a list with some of the greatest coaches to ever coach in the NFL. We got John Madden like 6 spots away from Mike Tomlin. Really should be like 4 because I moved Mike Tomlin up here. But we got John Madden 6 spots away from Mike Tomlin on a list, right? And John Madden literally is Madden, NFL, the game. Everybody knows Madden. Everybody knows what kind of coach John Madden was. Great coach. Andy Reid, same thing. Tony Dungy, same thing. This is the kind of caliber of coach we're talking about here. I say all that to say this. This is who we're talking about here. This is the caliber of coach we're talking about here. And you guys want to just get rid of him every time we lose a game. Every time we lose a game, it's, we got to get rid of Mike Tomlin. Every time we lose a game and the offense puts up 7 fucking points, we got to get rid of Mike Tomlin. Every time, bro. And it's so annoying. And I get there are real situations where, we don't make adjustments in the game, and that's a killer. And we don't necessarily come in the most ready, and that's the killer. And I really wish it would stop. And at some point, Mike Tomlin is going to have to take heat for this, and he already has taken heat. But at some point, Mike Tomlin is going to be the final blame and is going to be the final replacement if things don't start turning around, right? He is the final factor. But in saying that, for right now, this is literally one of the greatest coaches to ever coach in the NFL. And what, we're supposed to just get rid of him because Matt Canada stinks at his job? No, Mike Tomlin will continue coaching until Mike Tomlin is done. If we release Mike Tomlin right now, let's go back to this. Every single one of these teams is calling him. Every single one of these teams. Maybe not the Patriots, maybe not the Chiefs. Seattle, Pete Carroll's 100. They're calling. Ravens, John Harbaugh hasn't done nothing in a while. They're calling. Broncos, actually, you know what? Sean Payton is back on the Broncos now. I just forgot that his most recent season he was on New Orleans. They just got Sean Payton back. If it was a sliver, if there was a chance that Mike Tomlin was available for the Broncos, they're taking Mike Tomlin. The Cowboys, taking Mike Tomlin. Bills, taking Mike Tomlin. Rams, he's going to go to Sean McVay's going to go to TV. They want Mike Tomlin. Peterson, the Jaguars, Tomlin. Washington, Tomlin. Shanahan, maybe they keep Shanahan. I don't know. But what I'm saying is if we fire Mike Tomlin, if the Steelers don't extend, if we get rid of Mike Tomlin, he will be scooped up in the matter of 0.3 seconds. If there is a doubt, a hope, a sliver, teams know about it and teams will call and he will have a new deal done before he's even fired. That's what I'm saying. This is the kind of caliber coach we're talking about here. If we don't have an elite quarterback, if we don't have an elite quarterback, right? If TJ Watt is worse than Myles Garrett, if Minkah Fitzpatrick isn't one of the best safeties in the NFL, we have this. We have one of the best coaches in the NFL. I'm talking about him like he's Patrick Mahomes, but he is. We have a Patrick Mahomes like figure on the team. And every week it's we got to replace Mike Tomlin. Every week it's, man, Tomlin needs to grab the team and he needs to get a hold of this roster and we need to lock in here because I just can't stand. I can't stand it anymore. What are we, a half hour into this? I can't stand it anymore, guys. We got the Kenny Pickett jersey on. We got the big KPA. I can't stand it anymore. Do I have anything? Oh yeah, I have this next all-time coaching thing. Mike Tomlin comes in at 16 with 163 wins. Pete Carroll behind him 161. At least 12 with 7 plus 12. That's like what, 27 plus 12. That's like 20 something. I don't know. There's like a decent amount more losses though. So it is what it is. What is this? Games over 500 wins. I don't know what that. Games against teams over 500. He has a 70 wins against teams against over 500. Look at all these stats, man. If we look at all these stats, he's just like that. I think let's see, what is this? Playoff games coached in. I want to see playoff percentage. All playoff wins. Let's do all playoff wins. If we go by playoff wins, Mike Tomlin is 25 below a bunch of people. We got below Sean Payton, Tony Dungy, John Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy. Should I have checked this out before I spent 30 minutes? I don't know. But when we look at the number, we got John Harbaugh with 11 and Tomlin with 8. So it's not that crazy, but I guess when we get into situations like this, the playoff wins are few and hard to come by. Andy Reid with 22 as well. Jeez Louise. Playoff games lost. Are we up in this one? Andy Reid, yeah, he has a bunch of these. We're 15 in this. We got the same amount of losses as John Harbaugh. And John Harbaugh has, 3 more wins? Maybe I was sleeping. On John Harbaugh. Win-loss percentage, what are we in that? Win-loss percentage, we're at 22. Jim Harbaugh, he's the Michigan man. Jim Harbaugh, he's up here. Let me get it back to just normal wins. If we just do wins, because that's what it's all about here. Mike Tomlin's at 16. Some of the other names, John Harbaugh, 25. Sean Payton, 23. McCarthy, 20. Pete Carroll, 18. Say what you want. Say what you want to say. Maybe I'm sleeping here. But they did rank Mike Tomlin 20. And I think Mike Tomlin does deserve some benefit of the doubt for never having a losing season, for always having teams ready to play against good teams. When it's time to face bad teams, you got me. But we're typically a team that doesn't die under Mike Tomlin. We're typically a team that is never in the bottom unless it's very early in the season. We're never at the bottom. A lot of these coaches, I've seen their teams at the bottom and finish at the bottom, so it is what it is. I think I'm going to leave this topic here, but I want to summarize in conclusion. In conclusion, Mike, if you're seeing this eventually in life, in conclusion, Mike Tomlin, I, as well as rational Steelers fans, we love you. And we're not shopping you. We're not connecting you with college teams, even though you're under contract with the Steelers. We're not going to do that. We're not going to try to replace you after every loss. But this has been the focus for everybody. This has been the focus for the past 3 to 4 years. I don't give a fuck what happens in the regular season. We got to get these playoff wins up. If we can get these playoff wins up, you get like, if Mike Tomlin, if I were to do this sort thing and Mike Tomlin had more playoff wins than like John Harbaugh or something, I would say confidently Mike Tomlin is the third best coach in the NFL. Confidently. I still say that confidently, but I can see the argument now with the playoff wins, and it's like, does the regular season, like, does it equate to that much with the playoff wins? Sure. There is like an actual discussion, that can be had versus Mike Tomlin and some other coaches. I get that. But that's the only thing. That's the only thing. Our more recent like blunders in the playoffs, that's been the only thing. If Mike Tomlin said had he dipped, had he pieced out in, let's say, 2015, the year we lost to the Broncos when everybody was hurt, if he had pieced out then, we have like 2 or 3 less playoff losses and it looks a lot better. Hey man, that's all I'm saying. Hey man, you got to get out, I guess, while you're on top. Otherwise, you'll just keep accumulating losses, and people can say fucking Sean Payton and John Harbaugh are even better than you, because they're not. They're not. But I'm a Steelers fan. I'm biased. Hopefully that wasn't too biased. Hopefully you guys were able to just manage through the Mike Tomlin praise. We love Mike Tomlin, but we really would like these playoff wins to come in bunches. If these playoff wins can continue to come in bunches, if these playoff wins can happen more regularly, then maybe, just maybe, everybody can shut the fuck up about replacing Mike Tomlin, because there's not a single NFL coach right now who we could replace Mike Tomlin with and we get better. There's not. So, hate to break it to you. Anywho, now I want to kind of switch topics here. We talked about Mike Tomlin, and earlier I brought up Cam Heyward. This is definitely going to be a less, in-depth thing than the Mike Tomlin debate I had just now. And if I didn't clean that up, in conclusion, Mike Tomlin, he's a lock for the Hall of Fame. Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach. Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the NFL. Stop replacing him. Anyway, now what I want to talk about is Cam Heyward, because in Jeremy Fowler's ESPN Top 10 Interior Defensive Lineman rankings, Cam Heyward came in at number 9, which, I mean, not the craziest thing here, right? But then we got this tweet as well: build your perfect D-line room, and just double trouble. We got Myles Garrett over TJ Watt, but I don't even want to get into that right now. We got Cam Heyward at $3. And Cam Heyward, love being called a $3 D lineman. Great to know what y'all think of my worth. Cam Heyward is notorious for responding to these. Anytime Cam Heyward is slept on, Cam Heyward will see it and he will reply. I'm going to give this a like. Shout out to Cam. So he will see it and he will reply. There was another tweet as well that I think we'll get to on the liked tweets here of Cam Heyward just being, I guess, tired of the disrespect. This guy, Billy Hartford, Bud Dupree fan, he's getting tired of the disrespect. You know what? Me too. I'll give that a like as well. I'm getting tired of the disrespect. At number 9 seems crazy. But, we'll talk about it. Let's pull up his stats here. Somebody said that they saw the decline of of Cam Heyward. That'll be a tweet that comes up here eventually on the tweets thing. I'm sorry I don't have it up immediately. But someone said that they think Cam Heyward is starting to decline. Now, I mean, the guy is 33 going on 34. So with age, that's expected. That's, going to come here. But if we look at his stats, 10.5 sacks last year, tackles combined 74, solo 39. This is a little down from last year. But last year, not an all-pro. He was an all-pro last year at 10 sacks. So he got 10.5. He got a half more sack this year. He started every game. As far as, do they have QB pressures here? I don't think this isn't the best, defensive thing to go by. But if we just look at just base stats on their own for the numbers, box score watchers, Kenny Pickett wasn't a good quarterback because I only saw the box score. If we just look at the box score, it doesn't look like there is any kind of dramatic fall off. In fact, 2017 2018, 19, 20. I'm sorry, 2018, 19, 20. Seems like this is when, you call it out. Now, he was hitting all pro and Pro Bowl these years as well. So maybe you call it out there. But last year he doesn't hit all pro for the first time since 2018, and he's fallen off. Me personally, I don't think so. But this is a PFF in 2022, and then this I believe is PFF in going into 2023. So in 2022, Cam Heyward, it was Aaron Donald, 1 of 1, tier 1 of 1. You got me there. But then tier 2 elite, Cam Heyward was number 2. Okay, entering his 12th NFL season. Cam Heyward is such a monster, bro. Let's watch this play here. I don't even know what this against the Raiders. Just completely stops the run. He's a monster. He's a monster. And the other people, we had Chris Jones, DeForest Buckner, Grady Jarrett, Kenny Clark, Vita Vea, Jonathan Allen, Jeffrey Simmons. Is Quinnen Williams on here? Or not Quinnen. Somebody on the Giants is now ranked pretty high. But anyway, we'll go to 2023 now. So in the following year, we got Aaron Donald, Chris Jones. Aaron Donald not in his own tier, by the way. We got Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence. That's who I was talking. Dexter Lawrence has now come up. I experienced a breakout season in 2022. If we look here, Stephon Tuitt, he was up here. Oh, man. Shout out to Stephon Tuitt. He retired, but I just peeked that. I think, Dexter Lawrence is he's kind of younger, but he was at 19, so he goes from 19 to 3 on this list. So PFF definitely had a jump of people here. I want to just real quick. I want to pull up Dexter Lawrence's stats here, just to kind of compare. And we're doing this no cuts, baby. So we're not cutting this. I'm just doing this live on the fly. Dexter Lawrence. Shout out to Dexter Lawrence. So he's in his 5th season, 25 years old. Last year he had 7.5 sacks, 68 tackles, 35 solo, 33 assisted, tackles for loss, 7, 28 quarterback hits. We put this against Cam. Once again, just stats. 74, 39, 35, 14, 23 QB hits versus 28. 7 tackles for loss versus 14. Solo 35 versus 39. Combined 74 versus 68. Do I have to tell you, Cameron Heyward, I apologize, but you are better than Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence, I apologize to you, is what I meant. But just, once again, box score reading, because if we just box score read for Kenny Pickett, that's fine. Better than you. Now, if we go to Chris Jones, I really don't mean to do this to all your guys' favorite players. I don't mean to do this to the professional athletes, but I'm a Steelers fan. Chris Jones, we pull him up. 17 tackles for loss, 17 tackles for loss, 14 assisted tackles, 29 QB hits, 30 solo and 44 combined. Cam Heyward, way more combined. QB hits, 29, tackles for loss, 14 to 17. Chris Jones, okay, you got me. Chris Jones, I respect your game. I respect Dexter Lawrence's game as well. I respect Quinnen Williams' game as well. I respect everybody's game as well. But I'm just kind of checking here live on the fly. It's not that crazy between him and Chris Jones. And Chris Jones, he's not falling off. Chris Jones is in the, what is he? He's 28. He's in the prime of his career. We looked at Dexter Lawrence. He was in like 25, so he's still in his prime. Aaron Donald, Pittsburgh, big pick guy. Let's pull up his stats since he's the guy. We got all pro. Aaron Donald. Can we just appreciate Aaron Donald real quick? We got all pro. And then we also got Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Years. We got 3 Defensive Player of the Years. We got a 2nd place right here. We got a 3rd place right here. Aaron Donald is just a guy, man. It is what it is. But if we look at his stats, sacks, 20.5 sacks as an interior defensive lineman is insane. But last year, we know he as well as the Rams kind of fell off. And him and Cam, Cam plays a different position than other people. He's more of an end. Now he's on tackle, but Cam's always been more of an end. I don't know about Dexter Lawrence and Chris Jones. I think they're more tackles as well, but it is a little different. But Aaron Donald, they're scared to rank him. They're scared to have him falling off. Cam Heyward, let's have him fall off. Cam Heyward, he's been falling off for 10 years now. Let's have him fall off. But Aaron Donald, he's not falling off. But Aaron Donald is a fantastic player. I, once again, don't want to slander. This is more of just to let everybody know that if you see this, if you see the Pro Football Focus tweet of Cam Heyward, we think he's fallen off, we think he started his decline, just to let you know it's a bunch of hoopla. It's a bunch of bullshit. It is. Because there's another guy that they've been doing this to for every year. Last season, Cam Heyward was falling off. This right here, 2020, was when you had a real shot. You should have ripped the head off the snake. If the Steelers, if they wanted to get rid of Cam, this would have been the time. But for right now, he's getting, I don't know what's about to pop up right now. He's getting 10 sacks a game, or 10 sacks a year. Same thing last year, 10 and a half. He's still hitting the quarterback. He's still getting relatively good tackles for loss tackles. All of the numbers are still very high up in relation with some of the other players on the interior defensive line. And also, I just realized that there's 2 IDLs. So Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams, DeForest Buckner, all the other people are here too. So Cam, to me, he's still in this like better player range. Should he be up with, like, let's say Dexter Lawrence? Should he be up? Yeah, I think he should. Should he be up with Aaron Donald? Yeah, I think he should. Because once again, if we just box score watch, then he is. But realistically, I still take it. I'm still gonna take Aaron Donald, of course. But I just don't think Cam Heyward is falling off completely to, we shouldn't be paying him as much, because that's what it comes down to. When Steelers fans, when we're talking about Cameron Heyward, it's any kind of slander is in relation to the cap hit. That is what this really is all about. Cameron Heyward makes a lot of money, and for a good reason, because if we looked at the stats, he is playing at his position. He is playing in the top tier, in the best. Being number 5 rated in a position in the NFL is huge. That is very good still. But I guess it's gonna happen. It's just it's bullshit. Like I said, it's hoopla, because of course Cameron Heyward at 34 eventually here, his numbers are going to start to decline. They're trying to become first, and eventually, I swear this tweet is real. I will get the tweet up. But eventually he is going to decline. So you got me there. But for right now, Cameron Heyward he's A-okay. Definitely a W. He's A-okay. And now I want to pull up some of these plays right here, because this is what I'm talking about. This is in 2021, last time he made the playoffs. So now 2 seasons ago now. But Cam Heyward, he is just full of plays like this, where he is running down the field, making the extended effort on plays. Literally chasing down people. We have a Justin Herbert play. This is from the same season, which is now 2 years ago. He probably has some plays more recently. But this is just what we're talking about here. And of course, he punches him in the stomach. This title is a little crazy, but let's watch. This is Cameron Heyward right here, who is an interior defensive line player, right? He's on the defensive line, and then here's him chasing down Justin Herbert. There are plays like this that happen multiple times a game every year, where Cam Heyward is 30 yards down the field where he shouldn't be, but he is the guy to be making this play for us. He is the guy who wants to win, That's what it comes down to. There's been time and time again where our defense has been awful, and people have been wide ass open, and leads have been blown, and they're just marching down the field, and it seems like, man, are they even trying? Cam Heyward, look at how I fucking typed it. Do you guys see the title right? I don't think you guys can see the title, but I spelled Cam Heyward wrong. Cam Heyward he's not lacking in effort. Cam Heyward tries every time, and at what point is that what we ask for? At what point can we count that? Because I'm counting that. And so for Steelers fans, if you guys have been watching, you guys know Cam Heyward does this shit all the time. You know he's always 60 miles down the field when he shouldn't be, because our safeties and our linebackers, we know about our linebacker problem, because our safeties and our linebackers and our corners, like we can't get him in the secondary. We can't. But Cam Heyward, he can. He's running. He's giving his full effort at 32 at this point. 32 years old doing this for us. So it is what it is. You guys can keep trying to retire him, keep trying to bury him. But for right now, Cameron Heyward is still the guy making these plays, bro. Cameron Heyward is still the guy doing this for us. This is a touchdown nonetheless. And I think they did end up scoring, and we did lose this game, but would have been much worse without Cam. All of our records would have been much worse without Cam. We need Cam. And so Pro Football Focus, when you're making money, when you're talking about $5, $4, $3, I'm going to implore you. I am going to highly suggest that you stop sleeping on the Steelers, because when we're hoisting the Super Bowl Lombardi trophy in February, when Cameron Heyward, who doesn't have a ring yet and is falling off and beginning his decline and is making too much money, and we need to look in another direction and we need to get off his contract, when he is holding the Super Bowl MVP trophy this season, Pro Football Focus, just know you will pay for your sins. You will pay for sleeping. you will pay. Everybody will pay, including people who are trying to write Cameron Heyward off who aren't Pro Football Focus. Maybe division rivals, maybe other teams like, maybe, the Steelers, they're going to fall off with Cam. So, maybe we should take this defensive lineman instead of them because they're going to have to get one soon. All that. Cam Heyward is playing for 10 more years. And Myles Garrett, on his best day, has never been better than TJ Watt. So $5 and $4, keep your money. I'll tell you this for free. TJ Watt is better than Myles Garrett. And Cam Heyward better than Dexter Lawrence. Cam Heyward better than Chris Jones. Cam Heyward better than Quinnen Williams. Cam Heyward better than DeForest Buckner. Cam Heyward better than Josh Allen. Cam Heyward better than DJ Reader. It is what it is. It is what it is. Don't blame the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. This is just me trying to spread you the gospel here. Cam Heyward is a top player. Cam Heyward is not falling off. And Cam Heyward is one of the leaders on our defense. If he does fall off this year, cool. You got me. But if box score watching, remember, we're box score watchers, guys. I didn't mean to highlight this, but if we're box score watchers, it's a bunch of hoopla. It is a bunch of hoopla. And Cam Heyward, a legend, the first longest tenured player on the Steelers. Second is now Boswell. But at this point, with the players we got since 2011, like, this dude is a vet. This dude is like a Steeler. Cam Heyward is the last player from like the earliest Steelers that I saw. Maybe even he wasn't there yet. He wasn't there like when we won the Super Bowl, but he was there for like the Tebow year, I think. Like, Cameron Heyward has been along for a while. And I'm tired of the disrespect. I'm tired of people retiring him. So I think I spent enough time on the Cam Heyward thing. I think I ranted. I got it all out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Now for the final portion of the podcast. We talked about some of these tweets up here. I just like these. We're going to get into some of the likes throughout the week. Now, to be honest, I mentioned this earlier, but we're already at 50 minutes. I said this was going to be a shorter episode. We don't really have the most likes, but we're still going to get into it. So starting out, Matthew Lucio, a regular on the likes. The most slept on wide receiver trio. So the most slept on. We talked about this, I believe, 2 episodes ago, with the top 5 receiving core. Deontay, Calvin Austin, and George Pickens. Is this Calvin Austin? No, it might be Allen Robinson. But anyway, we do have a slept on trio. I really think we do. I've mentioned this multiple times. I think, Deontay Johnson, that we've slept on him. George Pickens, he's coming into his second year. Obviously, his rookie year wasn't like the greatest stat thing, but I really think we are slept on. We haven't even talked about Freiermuth isn't on this. There's a couple other receivers we haven't talked about them. Everybody's talking about T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd. And then you got, other receiving corps that people are talking about. You got Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow on the Raiders, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, and Mike Williams on the Chargers. Just a bunch of other teams. I think the NFL, people are sleeping on the Steelers. I think we're going to turn heads this year. Hopefully Deontay steps up, George Pickens steps up, and we do our thing. Next, Kenny Pickett is 1-0. Kenny Pickett, big KP8. Is 1-0 versus the Browns. And I mentioned this also, but the Week 2 matchup, Monday Night Football against the Browns, I will be there. And we got to get to 2-0. If we lose this game and I am there, it might be the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to say it, but I really won't be happy. Hopefully we continue this undefeated thing. Next, Steelers outside linebacker Alex Highsmith tabbed as a trade candidate. I don't want to, get into this whole article. Shout out to Blitzberg for that. Shout out to Pickens for this. Shout out to Matt for the other tweet. I don't want to get into the whole article here, but I do think this is something. This is crazy on the surface, but if we think about it, if we use our heads here, if we're rational, Alex Highsmith, he is coming up for a big contract extension. We're already paying Cam, Minka, TJ. I didn't mean to do that. We have traded players like Chase Claypool. We've traded players before, and I think it's worked out. I love Alex Highsmith. I don't want to trade him. However, if the market is there and we don't necessarily want to commit all of the money to him, and we want to maybe get another young player on another rookie deal so we can continue, building in other places, maybe could be explored. I didn't even think about it until I saw this tweet, but maybe could be explored. I don't think we're going to. I think this is just we're bored in the off season. Maybe it's real, but I don't think we're going to necessarily just trade Alex Highsmith. But definitely, if we can get a 1 or a 2 for Alex Highsmith. I think you got to at least pick up the phone. That's me, though. Now, the biggest questions facing the Steelers before training camp. I actually do want to open this. I did kind of glance. Shout out to Nick Farbaugh, Steelers Now, big Steelers page. Can Matt Canada keep the offensive momentum? What's the situation at inside linebacker? And then will Kenny Pickett take the leap? I think I have talked about all three of these a bunch. But just to kind of quickly, can Matt Canada keep up the offensive momentum? They had a big, nice paragraph here. I will say we did end the season on a high note. We did end the season, I believe, 6-1. Should have been 7-0, but Mitchell Trubisky came in and, did Mitchell Trubisky things. Should have been 7-0, but it's cool. We didn't necessarily score the most amount of points in some of these last matchups. In fact, we're going to do this live on the podcast here. No Cuts Steelers 2023. 2022. We do want to look at this because I do want to just look at the points here. So at the end of the year, 28 not bad, but then we got 16, 13, 24, 19, 24, 20. I don't want to nitpick here. I don't want to cherry pick stuff. But I mean, 16 points, 13 points isn't the best. 28 against the Browns. The Browns stink, so it is what it is. So I mean, not the most points, I guess, not the most points to be keeping the momentum, but I mean, we were ending on wins and we were getting the points when we needed them to be had. So I mean, yeah, can we keep the momentum? I think Matt Canada. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Matt Canada, but I'm just trying to be more, positive. I'm trying to be, pessimistic is bad. I'm trying to be not pessimistic, whatever the good thing for pessimistic is. I'm trying to be that. I'm trying to be objective or whatever. I think with the way we ended, with the pieces we have, with the additions, hopefully improvements, I think we can keep it rolling here. So that is a question. Situation at inside linebacker, we've talked about Cole Holcomb and Eladen Roberts a bunch. We've talked about Miles Jack, even who we used to have, Devin Bush, Spillane, Kyle Van Noy, who someone maybe we can get. Even Isaiah Simmons from Arizona, I brought it up. Honestly, I don't know what we're going to do. I think maybe we could get a Quan Alexander, Deion Jones, Reuben Foster, who's somebody who I haven't talked about, who he played in the XFL. He's a former pretty high pick in the draft. Is it the XFL? Either XFL or AAF or USFL, one of those leagues, man. Reuben Foster, he's been playing well in that, so maybe he's somebody we can look at. Really, I think, depending on how the season goes, I think that is just going to be our number one pick. I think we're just going to get another, first round linebacker next year, and it is what it is, and not have to spend the money this year on one. And I think we're just going to kind of bunker down and just hope, I guess, Cole Holcomb and Eladen Roberts play well enough for us. They should be a quality run-stopping duo, which what we've needed. We've needed to be able to stop the run. So if they can do that, if they can come in, and not be, how corners, where if you don't say a corner's name, it's typically a good thing if you don't know who a corner is, because that means they're not getting bombed on. Hopefully, Cole Holcomb and Eladen Roberts, they can just do that. If they can just do that, if we can get through this year with them, and Mark Robinson as well, if we can get through this year with them, and then maybe look at first, second, or third round linebacker in next year's draft, I think that is perfect. But as far as this year, maybe we get a veteran. Maybe we get, maybe Eladen Roberts and Cole Holcomb, maybe they're just that. But yeah, it is going to be interesting. It's going to be a totally new core besides Mark Robinson. So definitely going to be some changes. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I think, I just said this, but I think we're just going to get a linebacker next year in the draft, and that'll be our new guy. And then from there, Cole Holcomb, Eladen Roberts, or Mark Robinson, one of them will step up as well until we get another new guy. That's my prediction. I'm sleeping on Cole Holcomb. I'm sleeping on Eladen Roberts. Maybe I am, and we'll see. And finally, will Kenny Pickett, big KP8, will Kenny Pickett take the leap? Listen, we've talked about this a bunch. I've said my piece. I've said Kenny Pickett is the best quarterback of all time. I've said he is the GOAT. But objectively, realistically, no trolls aside, I genuinely think Kenny Pickett ended the season very well. And quarterbacks do tend to get better as they go on from year 1 to 2. I think obviously from year fucking 15 to 16, it could be some decline. But from 1 to 2, there should be improvement, right? And if you couple that improvement with a team who should be improving, who should also be going up, right? Boom, boom. You couple that with not the hardest schedule, so that's 3 things going for us. That's 1, 2, 3 things going for us, up in the right direction, with a better offensive line than we had the previous year. That's 4 things. With Calvin Austin being able to play with more receivers, that's 5 things. Like, that kind of falls into the second one, but I'm just saying here, Kenny Pickett should take the leap. If Kenny Pickett is any good, if Kenny Pickett was ever going to be a franchise NFL starting quarterback for multiple years to come, he will take the leap. And I believe him to be that. So he will take the leap. We're going to want more touchdowns versus less interceptions, which is a very basic thing to say. But it's true. That's what we're looking for. More touchdowns to less interceptions. Maybe more runs. Maybe, we need to explore Kenny running more. And the Tua argument, the Tua of concussions and all that, if we could get, less games left with injury, if, obviously you can't control concussions, you don't control injury, but it is, I think, at the very least a concern. So if that can happen too, if we can just improve in all these, then we should be looking up. Like, I don't see how you could be a Steelers fan, watch the games, and maybe you're a Penn State guy and you just hate Kenny Pickett. But once again, objectively, I just don't see how you could see what you saw last year and then just be like, yeah, he's going to be even worse. He's going to be much worse. Because last year, box score watching, Kenny Pickett, box score watching, stunk. So I think it can only go up. It can only go up. He finished the year, I think, throwing like 1 interception too for like the last maybe 4 to 5 games-ish. So a bulk of those interceptions came very early. So I think Kenny Pickett will improve. I've spent so much time talking about Kenny Pickett. I think I've talked about Kenny Pickett probably the most on these episodes here. So I think Kenny Pickett will improve. He's an ACC champion. Yeah, that's got to count for something here. Trevor Lawrence, an ACC champion. Nobody talks bad about Trevor Lawrence. He's accomplished I was going to say he's accomplished about the same things as Kenny, but I think Trevor Lawrence in college had a little bit of a better time. However, not that much better. Let's be honest here. Kenny Pickett is the greatest quarterback to ever play for ACC, so it is what it is. Next, I guess I will leave that. Overall, those are the biggest questions facing us, and I've talked about those a bunch. They're going to continue facing us until we actually get some football here, so it is what it is. Now we got some Deontay Johnson footage, him working out. I think Deontay, this has always been a thing with Deontay. Deontay's always been one to put in, I guess, extra work and then show us the extra work because it's on camera. I don't know if other receivers don't do this. I don't know if Deontay is actually working harder than other receivers, but if we count the footage shown to me on social media and the training videos, Deontay Johnson is a big training guy. And I don't want to just ignore that. It is true. Deontay, if you ask people, if people talking about it, they will say Deontay does work out a lot. So it is what it is. Antonio Brown is somebody else who was a big worker outer. So, Deontay working out. Shout out to Deontay. Also, let's delve into some politics here. I don't know if you guys see this politics. The Trump burger is trending. I don't know what the hell this is about. But just if you guys notice it, I'm noticing it too. Trump burger, who knows what that will be. There it is. We talked about that. Joey Porter Jr. has yet to sign his contract before training camp. Really, I don't know what the commotion is, what the holdup is. Teams or players have never, I shouldn't say never, but it's really rare for a player to just completely sit out and completely not sign his contract, completely not sign the deal. That's pretty rare. And so I don't think this is something we have to be worried about. But it definitely is a little sus, so I did want to talk about it a little bit. He isn't necessarily under contract. What happens is if a player doesn't sign the rookie deal, they can just sit out and then get redrafted, essentially. I think that's how we're either redrafted or they can just sign. But I think since they were never officially signed with a team to ever, I think they can just get redrafted. Will Joey Porter Jr. do that? I don't think so. But, hey, anything can happen, right? Next. Most forced fumbles in the NFL since 2018. TJ Watt, 22. Chandler Jones, 18. TJ Watt leading the pack. Look at Aaron Donald down there, all the way down there. TJ Watt all the way up here. I mean, that's something. Here it is. Bang. Cameron Heyward starting to decline. One NFL scout believes so, as the NFL dropped Heyward in the top 10 defensive line rankings. We thought he was starting to decline last year, which is to be expected given his age. I mentioned this much earlier in the podcast when talking about Cameron Heyward. They've been doing this for, 3-4 seasons now. Cameron Heyward, maybe he's fallen off, but if we look at the stats from last year, they are literally on par from, if we look at his last all-pro year, if we look at the all-pro year to this year, he has a half more of a sack, a little less tackles, one less tackle for loss, and more QB hits. And he was falling off last year too. So if that's fallen off, then it is what it is. But I thought I should mention it, which is why we talked about Cameron Heyward, which is why I wanted to go more in depth, because we're not going to always have Cameron Heyward, and eventually he is going to fall off to the point of him being retired, and that'll be it. And so I want to talk about Cameron Heyward as much as possible, as much as we can, with is maybe, because he's fallen off here, maybe in a limited amount of games left with Cameron Heyward. So definitely wanted to give that a mention. This is a tweet I liked a little bit ago. So during the second half of the 2023 season, after Pittsburgh's Week 9 bye, Steelers ranked 7th in scoring rate per drive and 3rd in yards per drive. Only the Chiefs and Lions were gaining more yards per drive from weeks 10 through 17 than the Kenny Pickett-led Steelers. It's a lot of words there. Let me just restate it. Only the Chiefs and only the Lions were gaining more yards per drive from weeks 10 through 17 than the Kenny Pickett-led Steelers. Now, with that said, here is a reply. It makes no damn sense. Compels me, though. This really doesn't make sense. This is me. This is the cat. I'm the cat. Because we finished with scoring no points. We are not good in the red zone. We need to get better in the red zone. We need to not finish these drives with field goals. But to me, that's interesting that we were the third team weeks 10 through 17. We were the third team, the third highest yards per drive. To me, that's crazy because it doesn't seem like that was a thing. And does that even matter? It's kind of like Mike Tomlin's over 500 thing. Does it even fucking matter? Because we scored 2 points a game. Does it matter that you've never had a losing season? Because we haven't won a playoff game in 10 years, buddy. Speaking of Tomlin too, I meant to mention this earlier, obviously, when we were talking about Tomlin. But one of the biggest reasons as to why I was talking about it was because there's another extension on the way. Well, believes to be another extension. Beat writer Ray Fittipaldo, he believes that there's going to be another extension for Mike Tomlin. And yeah, I believe it too. Once again, there's a bunch of people who just hate Mike Tomlin, hate the way he coaches, hate, that we haven't won a playoff game. I don't know. But he's going to get an extension, and he's going to be our coach, like it or not. And like it or not, Mike Tomlin is a great coach. Like it or not, that's a good option. Like it or not, we don't have a single better option to do than to extend Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, from what we know. That is just me. But yeah, it's likely coming. We talked about this coaching thing. And then now, which might be the last one, yeah, because I think I talked about this passionate fan base thing last time. The last thing that we have to talk about is this quarterback tier list, because one, they're kind of trolling, but I remember in an episode a little bit ago, I did make a quarterback tier list as well. Maybe I will bring it up here, but I do. Let's just look at it. So starting off, we have Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen, and tier 1. To me, I think you move Mahomes up 1, like in a different tier than Allen than Allen and Burrow. But you move Mahomes up, and then Allen with the Super Bowl appearance. Burrow with the Super Bowl appearance and Jalen Hurts with the Super Bowl appearance. Maybe they get more of an edge, but if you want to just put Burrow and Allen and Mahomes all in one tier, cool. Next, we got tier 2, which is Herbert, Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, and Jalen Hurts. This has to be like a future sight thing, because no offense to... Actually, you know what? Trevor Lawrence, he is there now. He does have the playoff win, and I believe everybody here besides Justin Herbert has a playoff win. Everybody in this tier besides Justin Herbert has a playoff win. Justin Herbert, I guess, just, the vibes are right. I don't know. He's just up there. Now we got tier 3. We got Aaron Rodgers, Stafford, Tua, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. I would probably move Rodgers back up still. Maybe you don't do that, but I think I would move Rodgers back up still. And then I think other than the defined role for Patrick Mahomes and defined role for Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts given their Super Bowl appearance, I think minus that, this is pretty similar to what I had. I just moved Rodgers up and then Lawrence down to the next tier, and we're good. And then in that same tier 3, we got Stafford, Tua, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, and Russell Wilson. I almost said Kyler Murray. And Russell Wilson. Same thing. I think tier 3 and tier 4 having Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr, and Jimmy G. A tier below Justin Fields and Tua and Daniel Jones, to me, is trolling. We're kind of trolling here. But, I mean, maybe, I guess, Daniel beat Kirk in the playoff game, I guess. But we're trolling. Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, trolling right here. To me, trolling for, other people not being up there. Even Derek Carr, I think, could be up there. But if we're just going on potential for this season and potential leading you forward, maybe. I guess that's still a little sus. Tier 5, this is where we have Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, and Brock Purdy. Sleeping. To me, I think we're sleeping, but it is what it is. Tier 6, Kyler Murray all the way down in tier 6. I don't mean to, defend Kyler. Maybe he is this bad, but man, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Kyler Murray. I would have Kyler still maybe in 4 to 3 tier. I don't think he's tier 2 anymore. I think at one point he was. I think you got to drop him a little bit. But tier 5, him with, what's his name? Sam Howell and Jordan Love and Baker and Desmond Ridder. To have Kyler Murray there is asinine. And then to have Ryan Tannehill not down there too, and Daniel Jones and Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins and Geno Smith, to have them up here and Kyler down here, to me, a bit crazy. Also, to not have Kenny Pickett in tier 1, to me, a bit crazy, but it is what it is. And then lastly, it's the rookies with Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. There's also some other rookies too. I guess they just didn't make the cut. But this is by Will Brinson. To me, makes kind of good sense. I'm a little iffy on Herbert, or I shouldn't say Herbert or Lawrence. I guess they can be here, but I think to me you move Rodgers up. I think to me you move, if we're gonna do this, I think to me you move Rodgers up, you move Fields down, maybe keep Daniel Jones, but you move Tua down as well because he's never won a playoff game. So you move those two down, and then from these next tiers, I think you move Dak up. I think you would move. I don't want to, I'm the Kirk Cousins guy. So maybe I'll just ignore Kirk, but Kirk could get a nod there. I think Derek Carr maybe could get a nod there. I think Kyler Murray could definitely get a nod in tier fucking 4, man. I mean, geez Louise. Kyler Murray can't even be a tier 4 quarterback. He's tier 6. To me, little crazy, but it is what it is. Overall, not the worst list. I've definitely seen some worse things, so a worse list, so it is what it is. I think we're sleeping on Kenny too. I think Kenny could be in tier 4, at least if we're going by this guy's logic, but it is what it is. But yeah, anyway, let's finish it again with talking about the most passionate fan bases. Number 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 1, Zaya and the Steelers. That is going to do it, I believe, for this episode. Just in conclusion, that is going to do it for this episode. I'm kind of out of tweets to talk about here. I could have liked more. It is what it is, but we're looking at the time now. We're at 1 hour and 12. And I think for what we did talk about, just judging on how my throat feels, I think we had a good run of it. We had a pretty good episode. So once again, that is going to do it for me. If you guys stuck through this whole way, if you guys watched this whole thing, be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, because once again, we are on a new channel here, the Zay and the Steelers channel. So yeah, make sure you guys check if you're subscribed, like, ring the bell, all that. Follow me on Twitter. All the links will be in the description. Check out the podcast on some of the other audio platforms. And yeah, the podcast releases Mondays. I want to have more videos come out throughout the week. I know I've been saying that, and especially being on a new channel, I definitely got to get better at that. So expect some of these to be clipped up and cut up into shorter videos throughout the week. Maybe get in some other kind of reaction videos throughout the week to maybe some sports pages or something, or maybe smaller topics I just take and make a 10-minute video out of. I don't know. But stay tuned for that. Definitely stay tuned for that. What's the Zay and the Steelers podcast without rambling at the end? Stay tuned for that. Check out the Ascent Sports page as well in the description. This is quite the outro here. I think that's going to do it for me. Hopefully everybody has a splendid week. Hopefully you guys enjoy your week. Hopefully we get through it fast to get back to the weekend, to get back to Sunday, so Isaiah can talk about the Steelers and we can get to Monday and you guys can listen to Zaya talk about the Steelers. Anyways, that's going to do it. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Peace out.